He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche. Let me ask you something strange. Why do people keep going when it makes absolutely no sense to? Why does a mother who lost everything still wake up and cook for her kids? Why does someone sitting in the rubble of a war zone still whisper it's going to be okay? It defies logic, but it happens. Every day. A few months ago, I met a man in a hospital corridor. He was sitting in a wheelchair staring at the floor. I asked if he was waiting for someone. No, he said. I'm just tired, but I'm not done. He had stage 4 cancer. His wife had passed away a year before. He had no kids, no visitors. Still, he showed up every week for treatment. Still, he smiled at the nurse who brought him water. Still, he said, I'm not done. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. What is that? What is that thing that makes people push through when the odds are stacked and logic says, give up? Here's what most people think. They think resilience is about strength. They think hope comes from optimism, that it's a choice to stay positive. But that's not true. Not really. Because there are moments when logic kills hope, when everything rational says there's no point. And still, some people keep going. This isn't optimism. This is something much darker, much stranger. Nietzsche didn't believe in sugar-coated positivity. He didn't believe life was fair or easy. He believed it was brutal, unfair, and filled with chaos. But he also believed something else, something most people miss. That buried inside suffering, there is a secret power. Not because suffering makes us stronger automatically, but because of how we relate to it. Let me explain. Nietzsche once wrote, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." Let's sit with that. To live is to suffer. There's no escape from pain, loss, chaos. It's the price of being alive. But to survive, to really endure, is to find meaning in the suffering. Not to avoid it, not to deny it, but to face it and pull something out of it. That's the part that logic doesn't understand. Logic says, this hurts, this is hopeless, stop. But meaning says, this hurts for a reason. This is part of something bigger. Keep going. Here's a real-world example. You've probably seen those runners collapsing across a marathon finish line. Legs wobbling, eyes glazed. They're not running because it's fun. They're running through the pain. And what keeps them going isn't logic. It's the meaning they've given it. I'm doing this for my father. I promised myself I'd finish. I'm proving something to myself. Pain is still there, but it's not just pain anymore. It's a signal. It's a sacrifice. It's a story. That's what Nietzsche meant. We don't endure because it makes sense. We endure because we decide that it matters. And that decision, that's the turning point. That's what separates despair from hope. Not a change in facts, not a miracle, just a shift in how we carry the weight. Pause for a second. Ask yourself, what's the hardest thing you've ever been through? What kept you going? Was it reason? Or was it something deeper? Something that didn't make sense to anyone else, but made everything to you? We don't need things to make sense to keep going. We just need them to mean something. That's the first key to defying logic. That's the first doorway to real hope. Not the kind you buy in books, the kind you earn in battle. But here's the twist. Finding meaning in pain is only half the story. Nietzsche had a far more radical idea, a dangerous one. One that says, not only can you survive suffering, you can want it. You can embrace it like fire. And that's where things get wild. What does not kill me makes me stronger. Friedrich Nietzsche. You've probably heard that one before. It's been printed on t-shirts, quoted in movies, used in gym ads, but most people don't really think about what it means. Nietzsche wasn't saying pain automatically makes you stronger. He was saying if it doesn't destroy you and you face it, you come back changed. And sometimes that change is power. Think about someone who's gone through real heartbreak. Not movie heartbreak. I mean divorce, death. The kind of loss that takes your breath for months. At first they're wrecked. Not eating, not sleeping, hollowed out. But a year later, if they stayed in it, if they didn't run from the pain, something's different. They walk slower, but steadier. They don't overreact to little things. They're quieter, but not weaker. That's the strange thing. They didn't just bounce back. They absorbed the hit, and now they carry it. And the carrying? That's where strength is built. Let's be real for a second. What nearly killed you? And when you think about it now, did it leave you weaker? Or did it give you something you didn't have before? You don't have to call it a blessing, you don't have to like it, but if you lived through it, you earned something. Nietzsche believed suffering was the raw material of greatness, not because it's noble, but because it's real. It breaks illusions, it reveals who you are without the masks. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. Let that sit. To create, to transform, to shine, you need chaos inside you first. You need that storm. Not peace, not comfort. Chaos. Pain cracks things open. But what you do after the crack? That's your story. And here's the punchline for this section. Resilience isn't resisting pain. It's absorbing it without losing yourself. Amor fati. Love your fate, which is in fact your life. This is where Nietzsche gets dangerous. He's not just saying accept suffering. He's saying love it. Love your fate. Love the chaos, the heartbreak, the detours. Love the entire mess of being alive. That's wild. It's one thing to survive suffering. It's another thing to say, I wouldn't change it. I needed it. And yet, think about it. Talk to people who've been through real tragedy and made peace with it. Not everyone, but some. They'll tell you, it shaped me. It woke me up. It burned away everything fake. They're not grateful for the pain, but they're grateful for what it gave them. Nietzsche believed this was the highest form of power, not brute strength, not happiness, but the ability to say yes to your entire life, even the worst parts. Pattern interrupt. You might be wondering, wait, you're telling me to love the worst things that happened to me? No, I'm not telling you anything, but Nietzsche would ask you to consider, what if the pain wasn't the enemy? What if the struggle was the teacher? What if the chaos in your life is the exact thing that could make you whole? To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. We're back here again. Because this isn't about pretending pain is good. It's about choosing not to waste it, not letting it rot in the dark, but turning it, somehow, into light. Look, life will break you. That's not up for debate. But here's what is. Will you just bleed, or will you build? Because once you realize suffering can shape you, you don't have to run from it anymore. And when you stop running, you become something very rare, a person who welcomes life on its terms, not on yours, on its. That's resilience. That's hope, the Nietzsche way. Let's talk about the other side. Because not everyone finds meaning in suffering. Not everyone turns pain into strength. Some people break. Some people go quiet and never come back. Nietzsche saw that too. The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. If we hold on to the old version of ourselves, the one that existed before the crisis, we rot. We get stuck. We pretend to be okay. We bury the grief. We stay logical, measured, numb. And that kills something inside. I once knew a woman who lost her son. She never cried. She said, crying won't bring him back. She was right. But years later, she was still sitting in the same chair, staring at the same wall. It wasn't strength, it was shutdown. She never gave her pain a purpose. She never cast off the skin of the life she had before. That's the real cost. Not that we suffer, but that we don't transform. Man is a rope stretched between the animal and the Übermensch, a rope over an abyss. Pain pushes you across that rope, but only if you keep walking. So what do we do with all this? Let's break it down. 1. Suffering is unavoidable. There's no hack around it, no shortcut. Nietzsche said, to live is to suffer. The pain is real, it counts, but it's not the end of the story. 2. Meaning is the bridge. Logic won't save you when life falls apart, but meaning, that's your lifeline. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Number 3. Don't just survive. Transform. Use the chaos, don't waste it. Don't stay who you were before the pain. Become who you are. That's the most Nietzsche line of all. Not stay strong, not stay positive, but become who you are. That means letting go of the old version. It means walking into the fire and letting it change you. So here's one thing you can do today. Take one hard thing in your life and ask yourself what it's teaching you. Not what it means in some abstract way, but what it's trying to show you about your strength, your fear, your limits. Write it down. That's your why. It won't fix everything, but it might keep you moving. So, what's the thing that nearly broke you? And what did it give you? I'd love to hear it in the comments, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe with notifications on for more videos like this. And remember, amor fati, love your fate, even the broken parts, especially the broken parts. See you in the next one.